Chad Hugo of the Neptunes suing Pharrell Williams for unpaid royalties. It's a pity. Say it ain't so. Come on. This is bad. This is bad. It's just bad because of the fact that they've made legendary moments, music. And yeah, Chad Hugo is citing unpaid royalties. He's citing information not being disclosed about financial records, within the business that they set up in 2014, the NERD LLC business. And he's obviously stating that he has enough information to be able to prove that he's owed up to $1 million. They had an album, the NERD album, in 2017. And I'm sure, obviously, he's got information to produce to say that, look, I'm owed this amount of money. And this is the reason why I'm coming. And I have not been able to get the information required from, the financial records of the business, as well as obviously the NERD album, because he did mention, in the lawsuit that he is also owed up to about $325,000 when it comes to the album he done in 2017. But overall, it's $1 million. These two artists, these two producers had legendary moments. Like I said, they had too many sort of classics, R&B, pop, rap. And it's a pity that it's come to this. They came up in the same city, grew up doing their thing, and it's like, if this is true, unfortunately, it will be a pity because of the fact that, these guys, created classics. It will be interesting to find out what happens with this, because we've heard about, obviously, Khalees having grabs with Pharrell Williams as well in regards to, songs that she believes, were basically taken. I'm sure he, would have a different opinion. But yeah, Khalees had this issue too. She came out with information, but she didn't make any kind of case against him in terms of any lawsuit. But with Chad, he's also, made an assessment of this in 2024 as well. He also came out and cited that, the Neptune's name was something that Pharrell was trying to take complete ownership of, which is, again, a pity because of the fact that if you've come up together, you've made music, you've made hits, just do what you got to do and make it fair. Make fair business between people that, should be having fair business with each other, because you know each other. You know the dealings, of what it was like in the industry and what each person contributed to. So if one person is trying to hold on to it, if it's true, that will be unfortunate. But it's always, you have to prove your innocence, and also you have to prove, in Chad's case, this being actually truthful. And obviously, I'm sure, like I said, he has evidence to back this up. I just thought I'll talk about this one briefly because of the fact that I'm a Neptunes guy when it comes to the sound. When they dominated, there was at one point, even in 2001 to 2003, even, or even probably a bit more than that. Let's go up to 2004. They dominated radio, literally. When it came to R&B, pop, rap, they were dominating. The Britney Spears moments, the Jay-Z moments, some of the music that they had at that time, Khalees moments even. They were dominated basically. But what is also interesting is this. He also mentioned himself as the principal producer, the main producer, the person that creates the whole sound design. So that's something that he put up in the lawsuit as well. So that's interesting. He's basically saying, I was the one doing majority of the production, the orchestration, which we know Pharrell can produce, right? But for him to be saying, look, I was doing most of the stuff on that NERD album, or I was cultivating most of that sound by myself, more or less. If this is true, how would this look on Pharrell as him putting himself as executive producer and him not really potentially giving what Chad is owed? I'm sure Pharrell, once this can be proven, if it is proven that he is to owe Chad something, I'm sure he would do it. But the point is, for it to get to this point, this delaying game, that's the point or part that it will be interesting to find out what's going on with that. Why the delay? Why the, potential prevention of your business partner at that time not having the records? Where's the fair business practices that's going on? That needs to go on actually. But I'm just reporting and I'm just coming up with, assessments on it. And I think they need to sort this out. If he's owed, pay him his money. Give him his money, and then you can go about your separate ways, because that, they're not producing together. But I will say also, when it came to their sound, when they did break up and you hear the sound that Neptune's, or you hear the sound that Pharrell had, actually, it did sound different. Now, that's probably based on the fact that he has his own assessments of how he wants to produce. But I think the melodies, the groove was different when Pharrell was producing by himself. And then you can hear the difference when the Neptune sound is. And you can also hear the difference. And I would say, the sort of groove or NERD sound that was synonymous with them when Chad started doing solo work with, there was an artist called Kenna a couple of years ago, well, quite a number of years ago. And his sound that Chad worked on sounded like some sounds that NERD had. It literally sounded like, oh, this is what NERD could have. So that whole, him being the principal, as he says, producer, it will be interesting to see if he can really back that up, because the sound that he had on that album, that Kenna artist, sounded like NERD. But then when you hear Pharrell's sound by himself, it has a Neptune's bounce to it, but it just sounds a little different. I think Chad was the one, to me, sound-wise. It looked like he completed the Neptune sound. It looks like he added those moments that completes the sound. You even look at a song like Drop It Like It's Hot, for example. That dim, 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 dim. Like little things like that just complete the record. We know the beat, but we know that moment that comes in that completes. And I think you check other songs that they've done, you can hear the moments where it's like, okay, that sounds like a cohesive record. And maybe it's because of the fact that they're both working together, and I think that's the key, the connection that they had. But like I say, it's unfortunate this lawsuit has come. What do you guys think? Chad Hugo of the Neptune suing Pharrell Williams based on unpaid royalties and not showing financial records of the business that they've set up, And obviously, what do you think about, if this is true, is Pharrell Williams looked at differently? Or if this is not true and Chad can't substantiate what he's saying, how does this make you guys look at both of them? Or is there any issue on their legacy?